Thank you again, everyone, for joining today's webinar titled Lead to Member, Thinking Long-Term with Your Website. We have our two expert presenters on the call with us today, and they're going to cover how you can successfully attract new members and grow your business by optimizing your website and your sales process. So we have Timothy Sarazin with us. He is the Director of Operations from 97 Display. He's an expert in internet marketing who helps martial arts and fitness businesses create lead-generating websites, digital advertisements, video marketing, and more. Today, he's going to share how to optimize your site to generate way more leads for your business. Our second presenter is Eric Charles Russell. Eric has been in the martial arts and fitness industry for more than 25 years, and he's the owner of Premier Martial Arts and Fitness in Watertown, New York. Last year, he published a book based on his successes called The Art of Selling Memberships. And this book became an international bestseller, hitting #1 in 3 categories in the US, Australia, and Germany on Amazon.com. And in this presentation, Eric's going to share his sales tactics for converting more leads into long-term members. If you have any questions for Timothy or Eric during the presentation, please type them into the questions box on the control panel on your screen, and we'll answer them during our Q&A session at the end of the broadcast. Tim, Eric, thank you so much for being here, and Tim, get us started.
Great. Well, I was excited to talk with a lot of you. I love the Member Solutions community. I've done a number of webinars before with you all. It's always been really great. So thanks so much for having me. And listen, the goal of today is we know the power of internet marketing and websites. And we also know the power of great sales. So we've combined 2 experts in our respective fields to help us get more members, more leads through our website and convert more of those leads into actual members. If we were to stop the process just at lead generation on your websites, you know, that would only be half the story. So we're trying to get to the point where we're making money with your leads, and we like that. A little bit about us. We help fitness and martial arts businesses around the world generate leads. Miranda's going to scroll through a couple logos here. Just example businesses all around the world that use 97 Display websites to help generate more leads. The truth is, if you are running a website right now, you may or may not be happy with it. I talk with a lot of fitness businesses that are like, I've got a website, some guy set it up for me not that long ago, or maybe I built it myself a long time ago, or maybe I'm paying boohoo's of money to some company. Well, my goal today is to introduce you to 97 Display and our website solution and how we've helped your kinds of businesses increase their lead generation, and also to give you some free tips and takeaways that you can implement into your website today. Free tips that you can go and improve your website's performance. So this is definitely educational. I want you to be taking notes. Definitely raise hand. Definitely ask questions. This stuff is a little bit technical, so if I get a little bit too much, that's totally fine. Just stop me and ask questions, and Miranda will answer them. So if you're the kind of person and you feel like, you know what, I've got my website down pat. I've got a great website. It's cranking out leads for me. I'm just going to nap for a little bit. I would say listen up anyway, because website technology changes really, really fast. And if you don't stay on top of it, you may find yourself not getting leads in the very near future just by the pace that technology changes. If you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're thinking, man, I'm a fitness business, I'm really good at what I do, but my community just doesn't know about me. I offer a really valuable service to my community, and no one knows I exist. This is perfect. You're in the right place. So let's get started, and let's talk about how to generate leads effectively, increase your trial memberships, and to sell more full-time memberships. Okay, so the hard fact, I would say, is that true growth in revenue comes from full-time members, not always trial memberships. And we hear so often in our circles like selling trials, selling trials, selling trials. But if you get a bunch of trial members and they're not turning into full-time members, well, that's not how you actually make true revenue. Or maybe you're not getting leads in the first place. Well, we can try to fix that too. And we'll move on to the next slide, Miranda. Cool. So our agenda is going to be, 10 minutes of talking about generating leads a little bit more effectively in our own towns, and we'll move on to converting those leads into members. That's when Eric will take over. The next one will be best practices for selling trial memberships. That's something that I'll talk about. And then Eric will close with 10 minutes on how common sales objections on how to overcome them. I'm really excited for that last segment. So, believe it or not, your website has the power to be your best lead generation tool. Now, why? It's kind of elementary, but the truth is, as society currently stands, if I'm interested in something, I'm going to Google it. So back in the day, what did people used to do? They used to open up the yellow pages. Not anymore. We Google things, okay? So imagine if anyone searching in your town for your kinds of services, if they were to see your business. And that's what we do. That's what we help high-quality martial arts and fitness businesses appear prominently on search engines. So never discount your website. Let's move on to the next one, Miranda. Cool. So we're going to be talking about 3 quick website fixes. And we'll hit each of these one by one. But these are 3 things that you can do right now to improve your website's performance. So like I said, maybe you already have a website and it's just not getting any leads. This stuff is going to help you get more traffic. Or if you have a website and you think, well, I'm getting leads, but maybe I'm not getting as many as I could, this is also going to help you. So take some notes and let's get started. Number 1, not talking about yourself. Okay, so one of the most important things about your website is the way that people behave while visiting your website. And believe it or not, Google tracks that. So if someone clicks to your website and they immediately click the back button, well, Google tracks that. And imagine that if maybe 100 people click to your website and they all click the back button, well, Google is tracking that behavior. It's the same thing as, like, let's say you had a new competition. They came into your town as a new personal trainer. And let's say that you decide to stalk them. So you drive up to their school and you're sitting in the parking lot and you're watching. People are walking up to their front door, they're walking in, and they're immediately leaving. And you're like, that's weird. And then the next person walks down the sidewalk. They go in their front door and then they immediately leave. And you're like, okay, something's wrong with this business because these people are walking in the front door and then they're immediately leaving. So we would think, well, something's wrong with this business. They're not finding what they're looking for. And Google says the same thing about your website. If someone goes to your website and then immediately leaves, Google's thinking, they didn't find what they're looking for. So multiply that by a lot of search volume. It's called bounce rate. Bounce rates are really bad. And what Google is beginning to do is drop you from search engines if your bounce rate is too high. And that's a massive issue. For a lot of people that have been doing websites or internet marketing, it used to be, okay, I'm going to follow these rules and my website's going to rank. No, not anymore. Now, your website has to convert visitors or else you're going to get dropped from search engines. So that's a big deal. We want a high converting website. So how do we get people to stay on the website? And this is point number 1, not talking about yourself. It's like a first date. If you go on a first date and you sit down across the table from your date and you just talk about yourself, how great you are, how many awards you've won, how ripped your body is because you're a fitness guy, right? Your visitor is going to think, this is all about him. And we're tempted to do that in the fitness industry, right? Or in the martial arts industry. We're tempted to do that. We're tempted to talk about ourselves and why we're so great. When in reality, what if people came to your website and the first thing out of your website's mouth was, hey, people in your town train well, lose weight, and get all these benefits. And then your visitors are like, okay, I live in this town. I want to lose weight. I want those benefits, right? Then maybe they're going to stay a little bit longer. And if they stay a little bit longer, then your bounce rate decreases and your ranking increases. So what should you clearly cover in your website sales text in the first fold? Number 1, what kinds of people do you help? So maybe people in a particular town. What can people expect? What kind of results can they achieve? Martial arts classes help people gain confidence. People in our, the community of Winston-Salem, where I am, the community of Winston-Salem experiences life-changing health benefits from our fitness program or something like that. And then what do you want them to do? This is another huge thing. What do you want them to do? Call to action. So you're in the right place. This is the kind of people that we serve, and then this is what we want you to do about it. So if you don't have a call to action on your home page, on your first fold, the first thing, so I want you to right now take a note. Go look at your website And what call to action do you have? If you don't have a call to action, you're missing out on leads, period. A lot of people say to me, oh, I want to talk about myself because my website is about me. No, it's not about you. It's about your visitors. If you want to talk about you, use your social media. Use social media to communicate your culture. Now, there's a time and a place to brag about your accomplishments on your website. I'll tell you that why in just a little bit, but let's head on to number 2. Okay, so the second most important page on your website is your reviews page. Now, the way that I know that is because I manage hundreds of martial arts and fitness websites globally, and I'm able to track the click patterns across all of these sites. So believe it or not, right, I've got the data to back this up. I looked at all of the clicks across all of our sites in the last 6 months, and I was able to see, of all the visitors, what was the second most visited page? And the answer is reviews page by a long shot. 80% of our traffic also went to the reviews page. Now, let's clarify something. A reviews page is not a testimonials page. Those are two different things. So testimonials, they're what you say about yourself. A review is what your customers say about you. And your community, they want to know reviews. So the other thing I would say is, people are online right now. If you're a reputable brand, they're searching your business name reviews. They never search business name testimonials. Like, have you ever searched that? No. But if you're thinking about going to this restaurant tonight for dinner on your date or whatnot, what are you going to search? This restaurant name reviews. So make sure that you have a page on your website that's called reviews, because that will rank #1 when people are searching those key phrases. And wouldn't you want them to go to your review page if they're searching for your reviews, where you can handpick what is being said? So a couple big things. #1, if you don't have a reviews page, well, then you're not giving your visitors what they're interested in finding, and your bounce rate is going to increase, and we don't like that. Okay, so we want to decrease your bounce rate by having a good reviews page. Now, how can you make sure that your reviews page converts visitors well? #1, making sure that your reviews are authentic. One of the best ways that I love to do this is by screenshotting my social media reviews. Right? It's simple. So you see on this page, what I've done here is I've taken some screenshots and I've included them in this presentation. So it's like a review, but it's handpicked. So it's kind of like a testimonial review, right? It was generated by me. I came up with it. I screenshotted it, right? But then I froze it in time on my reviews page. It looks really good and it converts really well. If you don't have any social media reviews, you can always write what someone says about you, but including their name and their location makes it a little bit more personable, and maybe even an image of them if you have their permission. Video testimonials are also really effective as well. Now, people ask me all the time, well, I have a website and I've got, stock reviews on them, and I say, okay, so really you have fake testimonials, right? Back in the day, this was a great sales technique. But when was the last time that you fell for a fake testimonial? You can sniff it out, right? We've all seen those infomercials. We all know those are fake reviews. We're all smarter than that. And if you're not yet, society is moving that direction. So if you're using stock reviews, the time is now to transition away from that. All right, on to #3. Okay, so earlier I talked about having a call to action on your website. This is really important. Now, we can't really see, I don't know how many, if we can zoom up on that image. I don't know if that's possible, Miranda, but including a call to action is very important because you're telling your customers what to do. Now, the trouble is a lot of people think, okay, well, what should my call to action say? And I've seen all kinds of call to actions. Start training now, call us now, see our schedule and see our schedule, or download this ebook, okay? And what's really important is that we have to understand if we present too many options, something happens called the paradox of choice, which is where I have so many options, so many choices, I don't do anything at all. And you freeze your visitors. So this is an example of a website where they have 8 different calls to action. We might look at this website, we might think, oh man, it's a cool looking website, I guess, but let's count them one by one. We've got a try a class for free, we've got login, we've got free trial, we've got receive pricing, class and schedule, we've got get started, and we've got call now. And then if you want to use images as a call to action, you've got 2 different options here. You've got the young girl and the gi, and then you've got the Mr. Muscles. Well, visitors are going to come there and they don't know what you want them to do. Like, do you want them to, receive pricing and class schedule? Or do you want them to get started, or do you want them to sign up for a class for free? Like, what do you want? And if you just simplified that into 1 or 2 max call to actions, your visitors are going to think, man, I'm at the right website because they're talking about me and my needs. Number 2, they're telling me what to do, and I know exactly what to do. So simplify your calls to action, minimize down to 1. So this is your homework. Go look at your website. How many calls to action do you have? And would it make sense to really just narrow it down to 1? Okay, we can move on. So hopefully you're getting leads. Now you've got some leads. What now?
I think that's where I come in, right?
That is where you come in.
Passing the mic. So you got leads coming in. I'm going to share with you, before we get into really how to close those leads, let's talk about some of the mistakes that we're making. And these are the 3 biggest mistakes that I see across the board when it comes to handling leads. Number 1 is not following up quickly enough. Number 2 is not following up with enough frequency. And the third one is the biggie, giving pricing before you give value. And this is the one that kind of really stumps people, because it's like, but they always ask me for price. So we're going to cover these. First is not following up quick enough. Now, a lot of owners think that they'll get to the lead when they can get to it, the person's interested, they're always going to be interested. And the fact is this, Tim was just talking about people going and doing a Google search. You're not the only one who came up on that Google search. They've probably contacted a couple other people in your town for their specific need. So it's extremely important to get back to them quickly. You want to, and there's been a study that was done by Velocify that showed if you get back to an inquiry within 15 to 20 minutes, they are 3 times more likely to make an in-person visit. The other thing is that the company who gets to, this is the same study, the company that gets to them first gets 50% of the business.
Wow.
Just by being quick. Now, I'm also going to point something out, and it's kind of a little bit of a plug for you, Tim, because you got something that I love about the website, this thing, what's it called, Instant Connect?
Instant Connect, yeah.
Instant Connect. This thing, you put, the lead goes in, and boom, you get like an instant message on your phone that there's a lead. So you can get back to them like within, I don't know, what's the turnaround time on this, like seconds? What is it?
It's typically less than 60 seconds.
60 seconds. You got to understand something. You're killing your competitors when you do this. And this makes it easy. So I would look to incorporate that into your website if it's at all possible. Well, we know it's possible with 97 Display, but the bottom line is you want to follow up quickly. Once they find their solution, guess what happens? Think about this for a second. Let's say you're looking for an apartment. You call these people, you visit, you actually find the apartment you're looking for. Do you continue to look for apartments? Right?
No.
You don't. You don't keep looking. That's why it's so important to get back to them quickly, because they get you on the phone, they're done looking. I like this person, they're good to go. I'm ready to move forward. Okay? So you got to follow up quick within 15 to 20 minutes. Develop a plan. If you're an instructor or you're doing classes or you're doing one-on-one sessions, make sure your staff understands that quick follow-up is important. It's got to be a thing that comes from the top down. Mm-hmm. The second thing is not following up with enough frequency. Now, it's important that we are on a consistent follow-up plan. If I don't get them on the phone, a lead came in and I don't actually get contact with them, there has to be reminders, there has to be constant contact that goes out to them so that they know you're trying to reach them. Emails, phone calls, text messages. In fact, Member Solutions has a software program called Member Manager, and they have it set up. They have what they call these flow sequences, and you can set it so that when a lead comes in, they're automatically going to get a series of emails from you, and you can set them up ahead of time. And by the way, I wrote the series of emails, and you can get them absolutely free, and they're just follow-up emails that have worked for my clients and for my businesses over the years. But it goes out automatically, so you don't have to be in there every day hitting send, 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 send. It does it automatically through these flow sequences. The other thing that it does is it reminds you to call them.
Yeah.
How many times have we got a lead come in, we write it down on a piece of paper, we forget to call them? You're losing business over this, okay? A lot of owners think, you know what, I'm going to annoy people if I follow up this much. You're not going to annoy them. They were trying to get a hold of you first. It's not like they were walking by your gym and you threw a hook out, right, and forced them to come in. They want to hear from you. People are busy. And you need, and here's the thing, most often when I have clients, when I get them on this follow-up program, they're a little nervous about it, like, man, I don't want to annoy people. And they finally get a hold of somebody after 15 attempts. You know what the person says? They don't say, hey, you're annoying me. That prospect says, man, thank you for following up and staying with it. I've been so busy. They apologize, right? So you're not going to annoy them. They want to hear from you. They want to be a member of your gym. Make it possible by following up consistently and with frequency. The third mistake is giving price before value. People call, hey, how much is it? How much is it? How much is it? Unless you're the cheapest in town, you should not be giving price. If you are the cheapest in town, stop. Don't be the cheapest in town, all right? Get paid for what you're doing. But they're going to ask you this because they don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what price you give them. There's services out here for $10 a month. We all know them. And you're going to be more expensive no matter what because they don't understand the value of what you have to offer. And you have to be able to present that value. So the only way that we can present it is not over the phone and not over email. We have to get them in.
Yeah.
We have to book an appointment. Now at the same time, we can't just ignore the question. We can't be dodgy about it. We can't be slick and try to use some kind of cheesy sales tactic. That doesn't work either, just like Tim was talking about with the fake testimonial things, or the canned, or whatever they're called, where every website has the same testimonial. I've seen these all over the place. It's the same idea. They're cheesy. Okay, so you've got to answer the question. All right, but those are the three mistakes that are made and what we need to do. So one is that we don't follow up quick enough. So guess what the answer is? Follow up quicker, right? It's pretty simple. Second is we don't follow up enough. So we've got to add some more frequency to it. The big challenge is, well, what do I say? How do I say it? Listen, go get the dang emails from Member Solutions. They're out there. It's actually the #1 most downloaded thing Member Solutions has, are those emails I wrote for them. Or better yet, get the software. It comes automatically in the software. And we can't give pricing before value. Now, am I going to be talking? Can you go to the next slide after 3, Miranda, for me, please? Okay, yeah. So here's how we're going to get them excited for the appointment. I didn't know if I was covering this right now or we were going to do this towards the end. The first is we got to answer the price objection. Can you go just back one more for me real quick? Answer the price question, which is what I already said. Create engagement and tell them what to expect. These are how you're going to get your show-up rate to be high. Okay? So the first is answer the price question. Well, I just said, you can go ahead and go to the next one. I just said not to give them price. So how do you answer the price question? Thank you for your interest. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but thank you for your interest. The price of your membership here is going to depend on the program that you choose. We have a few options for you. I explain why giving them a price requires me to ask them some things, requires me to figure some things out, and then I immediately ask a question. The reason I ask a question is because questions control the conversation. They started off controlling it by asking you the question, right? They said, how much is it? And all of a sudden you're scrambling and freaking out. It starts at $59.95. Now you're in a corner. Because some people are going to think it's expensive, some people are going to think it's cheap. You guys must suck if you're only charging $59. These other guys charge whatever. So I got to ask a question. And the question I want to ask is related to narrowing down the programs. Have you ever trained before, or is this something new? So in the prospect's mind, oh, this dude's going to narrow it down for me a little bit. And that's exactly what I'm doing also, because that's information I need to know. Are they new? Are they trained before? What's going on? And we want to continue on with those questions. We want to ask about their goals. Why do they want to train? Right? Do they work days? Do they work nights? Okay, I always ask that because it's a lot better than asking, do you have a job? That's kind of important info to know, right? You don't want how many times a prospect come in, they haven't had a job. I know that's happened to some of you guys out there because it happened to me until I got wise to it. Do you work days or nights? Because I need to know where to schedule them. But I also gives me an idea, hey, do they got a job or not? Okay? But I want to continue on asking those questions so that I can really narrow down why, what they're looking for. And to them, it really says, hey, this person is interested in why I want to train. Exactly what Tim was talking about when they go to your website. So all of these things are staying congruent. They're going to your website, it's about them, about the results they can achieve, about things that they're looking for. They get you on the phone, it's about them, about whether they're new, whether they've done this before, whether they're in it for weight loss, whether they're in it to get in shape or run a marathon. I don't know why they're coming to you, right? Mostly for weight loss. We know this. Okay. The second thing is we want to create engagement. And I just kind of went over everything on the engagement part. When you're asking questions, that's what creates the engagement. It also builds trust and rapport with that person. When they're talking about themselves, Tim just told you not to do it about you, and I tell you not to do it, but let them talk about themselves. They love it. And this is one of the things why it's so hard to get clients to stop doing it, because they love doing it. But it's not helping your business. It'll help your business if you let them talk about themselves. Okay? So that's the second thing. The third thing is that you want to tell them what to expect. This is a biggie that we miss sometimes. The reason why it's so important is because they say, oh, this is going to be great. They're going to work a program out for me. The guy was really interested, or she was really interested in me when I talked to them on the phone. They're not going to be saying this out loud, but it's going to be going through their head. And then they're going to hang the phone up, and there's going to be some time in between that conversation and their appointment. And you know what happens? The wheels start turning in their head. They start seeing things go on. They start seeing they show up looking like a fat slob, and everybody's all ripped and looking like they're in shape, and people are pointing and laughing at them. I mean, they start to create this fear about showing up. They'll imagine the worst because they don't know what to expect. So we've got to make sure that we paint the picture for them, that this is what's going to happen. Now, I'm not going to go through every little workout thing that I'm going to do, but I am going to tell them, hey, we're going to go over your goals a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of a tour. I'll introduce you to the staff. We'll do a little bit of a workout, have you try a class out, whatever it might be, to really kind of see if it's something that you like, but also helps us kind of narrow down what program is going to be best for you. Okay? So it's important that we tell them what to expect so they're not using their imagination and assuming the worst, because they'll get nervous about it. right? Think about it's something new. Most of our clients are new. We know this too. So they're a little hesitant. That's why they called you on the phone. Matter of fact, that's why they emailed you, because they were nervous. Otherwise, they probably would have just showed up at your place and said, hey, let's do this. But they're a little bit nervous. So we have to allay that fear a little bit and give them what to expect. When we know what to expect, we're good. Okay? If you didn't know whether your ceiling was going to fall down right now, you'd be all freaking out. But you're probably pretty confident it's not going to fall down. I'm confident mine's not going to fall down. That's why I'm not freaking out right now. Now, Monday, when we had a tornado, my whole family was freaking out because we weren't sure what to expect, man. Trees all over around us. Okay? It's important that we tell them what to expect. Those are the things that are going to get them excited, that are going to help you get them in the door at a high rate. So if you're seeing 50% of your people aren't showing up, this is going to improve that. This is going to help that. Okay? Now let's talk about trials. Let's talk about some of the best practices for trials and what to do on that, because I know you brought that up a little bit in the beginning, Tim, and I know you know a lot about this, so I'm going to let you.
Well, yeah, we talked about trials, which is used effectively by many fitness or martial arts business owners to help segue the experience from, lead to member. Many of you have experienced people wanting to try you out. And depending on your business model and depending on your competition, this may or may not be helpful. But I will say, if you do want to experiment in the trial class market, we should all understand what the point is. And the point is to get them to be a member, right? If you're getting trials that are dropping off before becoming members, I would make the argument you just lost money on that, because whatever amount of money you captured in that trial offer is undone by the amount of time that you spend on them and the lost revenue down the road. Plus, recapturing your trial to a full-time member is even harder. So that's a huge sign of your health of a sales process and your team's health if they're able to effectively migrate trials to members. The big thing I would say is avoid the Groupon mentality. Groupon used to be really huge, and a lot of people still use it, but Groupon does have a following of people looking for a deal. And you're not in the market for people trying to find a deal. You're in the market of people trying to make life-changing fitness and martial arts decisions. So I would make the argument that if you're advertising on Groupon effectively, good for you. If you're looking to enter into this market, beware that you might be attracting people that are just looking for a cheap deal. And you need to be making sure that you give them an amazing experience through an effective sales process and through an effective trial that will lock them in and convince them to stay. Now, I will say, if you want to sell on your website, we offer that service, and many people sell directly on their website. And we've observed through our collection of fitness businesses globally that those of you that sell trial classes, we see sales up here, and as soon as we hit the $50 mark, if the price point exceeds $50, we see an immediate drop off. And the crazy thing is there's not a real correlation between length of trial. So if you're offering 6 months for $50, or if you're offering 6 days for $50, it's all about the same, which is very interesting, right? Maybe it's a cultural thing, maybe it's not, but I would say try to keep it below the $50 mark. They're trying to test you out. They're not trying to spend a bunch of money. Now, I would also say know your area very well. This isn't a one-size-fits-all. So if your competition is offering free trials and you're offering, a week trial for $50, you might see a lower conversion rate just because of your competition. And I'll also make the argument that $50 in New York City is a whole lot less than $50 in many other parts of the country, right? In North Carolina, you get a whole lot more for $50 than you do in, Chicago or New York City, or LA. So know your area well, know what your competition is offering, and then adjust accordingly, while at the same time maintaining a healthy understanding that you didn't win when you got a trial. You won when they became a member. So know those stats. And we can move on to the next slide, Miranda.
Yeah, and I want to say something about trials real quick too. People always ask me, when do you sell a trial or membership? And the answer is the day they come in. The day they come in. There's no need to wait 6 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. There's ways to handle it. Now, look, you can't do like a bait and switch. It's where you're not giving them the trial opportunity either. But you always want to offer them a membership in the beginning because that's when they're the most excited. In the beginning. Okay? So that's an important point.
I also saw one of our clients that did that same thing. They sold them on the first day, and they said on the very first day that the goal of this is to become a member. And if you become a member, we'll credit your trial class purpose towards that membership. So the entire time in their minds, because they understood they're not in it to make the money on the trial, they understand they're in it to make the money on the membership. And so the entire time, the entire trial is, the mindset is this leading towards membership?
Correct.
So
this is exactly how you position it. I know you got 6 weeks for $29 or whatever the trial is that you're offering, and if you wanted to get a membership tonight because it looked like you enjoyed the class or you enjoyed the workout, then I'll offer you one, and I'll take that $29 off your initial installment. That's simple. Okay, and that's how you handle it.
Yeah.
And if you did a good job, they're going to want to become a member. It's not going to take them 6 weeks to figure this out. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 4 objections. People ask me, where did I come up with the 4 objections? 28 years of doing this. 28, and I hear them over and over and over again. And I know there's all these different closing techniques, and there's all these different sales processes on different objections. These are the only 4 that we're ever going to see in our business. Location, transportation, and weather. This has to do with them getting to you. Right? The physical ability to get to your gym. How many times have you heard, well, I got to see if I can get a ride, or it's too far, when you present price? They'll use it. Time and schedule, another one. How many times have you heard, I got to check my schedule before I can tell you? I know if you've been in the business for more than a month, you've heard it like 12 times. Right? I mean, it's nonstop. That's an easy one to use. Motivation and commitment is another objection. That's kind of long. I don't sign contracts. I don't follow through on things. They won't necessarily tell you that, but motivation and commitment is one. Maybe they think they can't accomplish it because they failed at things in the past. Chances are they're coming to you because they failed in the past. That doesn't bode well for their motivation to become a member with you and to be decisive about it. Okay? The 4th one is significant other. We all use this one. I know people use this one that don't even have a significant other. I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my husband, grandfather, whoever. My dog's got to get in on this. Significant other. Those are the 4 you're going to run into. So let's, and take notes on this. This is an important thing right here, what I'm about to say. Underline it, put an exclamation, stars, whatever you got to do to remember this. You always want to cover the 4 objections in the beginning. Before you talk price, before they train, before you do anything, you have to make sure that you handle these 4 objections. If you do not, you'll never know what the true objection is. Because at the end, when you give them price and they say, I got to check my schedule, 99% of the time they're full of it. They know their schedule. They probably got it right in their iPhone or Samsung or whatever your preference is. Nobody's using no paper calendar. You think they got a paper calendar on the refrigerator and they go home and they look at it? I got to check my schedule on my refrigerator. That's not happening, right? It's just an easy excuse to tell you, hey, I'm not interested in committing. I'm not. And it's not that they don't need your services. It's not that they don't want it. It's just there's some sort of fear there. It might be the fear, like I said, that they failed in the past and they're just going to fail all over again.
Yeah.
right? So we want to make sure that we handle these in the beginning when they're the most honest. Back in the day, I had a sales manager who told me buyers are liars, and I thought he was kind of an a-hole for saying that. But it's true, man. As soon as time to part with money, people start lying. And they think they can lie to you because you're trying to sell them something. So it's all good. Right? They're still getting into heaven or wherever they're going. So let's talk about these and how we handle them. Remember, beginning, before they work out, before they do anything, let's talk about it. And it's just simple. It's not something that we want to complicate. The key is the timing of it. And another thing is, I always write them down when they answer me. So they fill out their little form to come in, their little waiver and their little background info, and on the other side it's blank, and it's blank for these objections. So the first one, can you get here a couple times per week? I'm blowing minds right now. You understand? It's revolutionary right now. You're just asking the question. I need the answer. Can you get here a couple times a week? They're going to say yes or no. Now, if you give them the price, and they say, well, I don't know if I can get here a couple times a week or 3 times a week like your membership has. That's when they'll say it. They'll say, I don't know. Let me check. I'll get back to you. But in the beginning, before we get into pricing and everything, they're going to tell you flat out, and here's the other thing. If they say to you in the beginning, I can't get here twice a week, I can have a real conversation about that. Dude, how you expect me to get all this fat off your body if you can't get here twice a week?
Yeah.
Right? That's a real conversation. I can help them. But at the end, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if they can really get here. Okay? The other thing is, they're less like, you can stay right there, Miranda. The other thing is, once you write it down and they give you the answer, they're less likely to change it. Because they know they already told you they can get there 2 times a week, so now they're not going to pull some BS and go, well, I know I told you I can get here 2 times a week, but I really can't. I was lying to you. It just doesn't work like that. Okay? So the key to this is doing it in the beginning and asking those questions when you can have a real conversation about it. The second one is time and schedule. I show them a schedule, a mock schedule, because I don't know if that's going to be exactly it, but here's what I'm thinking. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 4 o'clock, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, noon, whatever it might be. Does that work for you? Typically, we might change it up a little bit depending on the workout, but do those times work? They're going to say yes or no. If they say no, we work a timeout. Well, let's talk about what works for you then. Now we've got these, they're not going to say I got to check my schedule at the end, because if they say I got to check my schedule, then let's check it now. You want me to put a program together for you, I need to know your schedule. Bust out your iPhone, Samsung, whatever, paper calendar that you carry around. Bust it out, and let's figure this out. Okay? That's number 2. The third one is motivation and commitment. Now, motivation and commitment, there's 2 parts to this. And it's based on the pleasure and pain principle. I want to know what's motivating them to move towards this. Why do they want this? What are they going to gain from it? And it's not that I want to lose 15 pounds. That might be their goal, but that's not what they're going to gain. What they're going to gain is I'm going to be able to fit into those pants that I fit into before I had the baby. I'm going to be able to walk around in a 2-piece bikini this summer. I'm going to have shredded abs, and I'm going to be an Instagram star. I'm telling you, that's been a freaking real answer before, right?
That's what I want to do.
So, that's what I'm going for too, man. Let's do it, right? But the bottom line is, what do I want to get out of this? What's the positive? How is this going to affect me in a positive way? How is this going to affect my work if I have all this confidence in myself? Okay? And then I also want to know the pain, because the pain is the real, is a lot of times the biggest motivator, right? That person who wants to get into a two-piece bikini looked in the mirror and saw something they didn't like. They saw fat, flab. You'll hear all these different things, but how is that impacting them in a negative way? And we want to find these out. These are the motivating things. These are the things that will get them to commit. And also, when you understand this about somebody, you can help them better, right? When you know that their goal is to have a six-pack, you can help them better. You know that they're, I had a guy come to me one time, and and his wife was joking, kind of. You know how our wives joke. They're not really joking, they're serious. They're dead serious. And she said, "Hey, what about those love handles?" And the dude busted right to the gym. He's like, "Oh no, I gotta keep it young, keep it fresh, right?" But that was his biggest motivator. But when he comes in, he says, "I need to lose 15, 20 pounds." But that's not the, understand this. People buy on emotion. They do not buy on like a 15-pound goal. They buy on emotion, what they're going to get out of that and what they're not getting out of it currently. So we've really got to understand that, and we got to dial that in. And it may, there may be a little bit of a conversation. All these questions do is they help you get into the conversation so that you can move them towards getting a membership. And you can eliminate dealing with this on the end. Okay, when she wants to get in that two-piece bikini, we're not thinking about it anymore. I got to think about this. We've already thought about it. You told me you want to be in a two-piece bikini by summer. You've already started. You've got some positive momentum going. You got to keep that going. Right? So very, very important, this section. This is the one that's going to make the buying decision. Are they motivated? Are they committed? You've got to get them motivated and committed. You've got to, and when they communicate it, it's like it excites them, and it really drives home the reason why they're there. And they need to hear it, not just be in their head. Okay? Fourth, last one, significant other. I got to talk to my wife. Got to talk to my husband, right? So we want to ask them, again, before they train, is everyone around you supportive of this goal? Yes. So, and you always want, in my book I talk about question. I have a process. It's question, listen, and verify. Very, very important that we do these things. We don't just question without listening, because then we get nowhere. But we also got to verify, because when we verify that we heard them, it's saying to them that we're listening, and it's also driving home the point that, hey, I committed to this answer. Okay? All these are is like little commitments. So they say, yes, everybody's supportive at home. So you go home tonight, this is my verification part, you go home tonight and you tell your husband that you became a member of XYZ CrossFit or XYZ Martial Arts or whatever. They're going to be not only totally supportive, but they're going to be extremely excited. Like, your husband's going to go in the closet, he's going to break out your old cheerleading outfit, your pom-poms, he's going to put them on, and he's going to be your biggest cheerleader. Yes, matter of fact, he's the one that told me to do it. Significant other's gone now. What are they telling you? Not only are they telling you that they already talked to them, but when they go home, that significant other is going to be excited that they bought a membership. Because I just verified that. Well, what if they say no? Not everybody's going to be supportive. I can have a conversation. Well, let me ask you something. Why are you here? You need a support group, support network. Why are you here then? I mean, I don't want you going home to an environment where they're not supportive of your goals, of you being a member here. And you know, a lot of times I hear, I don't care what other people think. I'm doing it anyway. That means I can move forward. So let me ask you something. You're going to get a membership here, regardless of what anybody else says, because this is something that you need to do. Is that basically what you're telling me? Because I admire that in people. Doing things that they need to do without worrying about who's judging them or whatever. Okay? And that's how we handle those. Those are the 4 objections you're always going to need to deal with. And if you're not dealing with those, that's because, or if you're hearing the particular one all the time, it's because you're not dealing with it. You're not asking them in the beginning. Okay? Now, one quick thing. I'm going to have Tim kind of sum up some things and kind of give people the website and all that, although I'm sure it's probably pretty easy to figure out, right? But one thing I want to say before we kind of wrap up and get into some questions is that I know I went quickly. I mean, you got to kind of move quickly and give info quickly, and I hope that you got something out of it. I'm sure that if you implement, you will see positive results. One thing that I'm going to do, if you do, my book is The Art of Selling Memberships. I'm going to do a quick plug. If you want it, I'm going to send it to you for free. All you got to do is pay the shipping. You don't have to pay for the book because you're on this webinar. I think Miranda's going to put the email in there, or maybe I can. I don't know. All you got to do is send me an email saying that you want it. I'll send you a link. It's $5.95 for the shipping, and I'll get it right out to you. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because we did move kind of quick, right? And I do want you to really benefit from this information. So if you want it, all you got to do is send me a quick email, say, hey, I want it, and I'll send you the link, pay for the shipping, bam, out in the mail it goes to you. All right? So with that being said, I pass the mic back to my man. We got to come up with some raps. So
yeah, no, really. Okay, so we covered a ton of information, and I would say that if anyone on this webinar was able to absorb and implement all this information perfectly just after this, give me a call because you're hired. Or at least
like Tesla type stuff.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we want to help you implement these things better. So if you have a website and you want me or someone from my team to look at your website and give you our 2 cents as to whether or not you could do something better with it or not, I have given so many free website analyses. It's fun for me at this point, right? I get to see a lot of stuff. 97display.com. Go check it out. Submit your information. Another really great thing that you can do is just email me directly. Tim at 97display.com, and I'm more than happy to take a look at your website and give you my 2 cents.
Awesome. And again, I don't get paid by 97 Display. They don't ask me to say nice things about them. I wouldn't be doing this webinar if I didn't believe in 97 Display. And I believe in them because I have clients that have literally switched from their old crappy websites. And those technically weren't crappy to set up. Like, they paid a lot of money for them, but I'm saying crappy in terms of like results. And they switched over, and I'm a believer. So I highly recommend you at least check it out because it really has done a lot of good for clients that I work with personally. So it's good stuff. Let me tell you a little bit about. I mentioned some member solution software. Let me tell you a little bit about, because I use this stuff in my businesses, and I want to just touch base on it really, really quick, and then we'll answer some questions if we've got any questions to take care of. We talked about following up with leads. We talked about managing your members and your prospects. Member Solutions has a software called Member Manager, and it's awesome at automating a lot of these key business functions that I talked about. A lead comes in, you can put it into a flow that will automatically receive emails that will move them along the process of getting in the door, becoming a member. It'll also notify you, hey, don't forget to call so-and-so. It does it automatically. You don't even have to, it's like you set it and forget it. Who's the guy that used to do that on the info? Ron Popeil.
Yeah.
Build the pocket fisherman and the rotisserie thing, right? My man, set it and forget it. That was his line. But it's the same idea. But you can also manage your members and your business because you can do scheduling with it, like track classes, track one-on-one sessions, has point of sale. You can run your billing through it. And it even has a cool member assist mobile app that your members can actually utilize for all kinds of stuff. You can send them push notifications. They can book things through it. Really, really cool piece of software. And you can demo it for free. Go to membersolutions.com. Or actually, we're going to give you a link where you can go that's going to also help you get to there. But it really does. You know, one of my mentors that I pay a lot of money to helps me with business stuff, right? And he says something that's really, really important to be successful is you have to look at what you do during the day, and you have to understand what you can automate, what you can delegate, and what you can delete. And you need to be doing that. So when there's things that you can automate, you automate them. This software helps you do that, right? If there's things that you can delete by sending out emails one at a time or as leads come in, you need to delete that because it's a waste of your time when the software can do it, right? So that's the deal.
And I would even say too, like, you know, a lot of us here are using member management software, and the truth is many of you guys have been in the same software for a while, and fear of change is a big thing. But there is new technology that's coming out that is helping some of the best, most efficient, you know, the cool guys, you know what I'm saying? They're coming out with new software, and taking a look at what's out there is a big deal. And I would recommend taking a look at that. Knowing your options as a business owner and making those decisions effectively will help you in the long run.
Good point. Good point. So to get started, either to upgrade your site and your social media with 97 Display, or to sign up more memberships with Member Solutions, you're going to go to bit.ly/lead-to-member, and there's a little thing in the chat box over there that you can click to go to that. And one other thing also, when you become a Member Solutions client, you get an added bonus that I do. Every 2 weeks, I do a question and answer. I just actually did this deal this week, so it's somewhat of an announcement, where Member Solutions has retained me to help you as a Member Solutions client get all your membership sales questions answered. I do this live every 2 weeks. It's not a pitch. It's not a sales thing. If you wanted to do this on your own, it would cost you $149 just to be in that group. As a Member Solutions client, they're paying your way.
Wow.
So it's kind of,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just this week. Actually, nobody knows it at this point, so I just announced it. Big announcement. Where's the fireworks and everything?
That's cool.
So, just another added benefit for becoming a Member Solutions client.
And I'll say, if anyone's on this call and you're already with a 97 Display as a customer, we integrate with this software as well, which means that leads from your website can automatically go into the software and trigger those campaigns and trigger those emails. So the integration's already in place. We're ready to rock and roll. I have coupons for Member Solutions customers. Now, if you're not a customer of either of our companies, we can pretend that you are, and I'll give you a coupon right for this particular webinar. So if you're in the market for a website, the coupon's worth over $400, which is awesome. Helps with basically launching it for, like, you know, not a lot of money. We're talking about
it's a lot of money in North Carolina, dude.
And North Carolina, it's a lot of money, right? It's over $400 worth of coupon just for Member Solutions customers. We did the same thing last time, and we had a couple people take advantage of it. Last time I limited it to 5. This time, guess what? I've upgraded to 7 coupons.
7's a lucky number, I think, right? Unless it's in craps.
Yeah. So the big takeaway is, if you're with Member Solutions and you're with 97 Display, make sure that we know so we can integrate those software solutions together. And if you're not with Member Solutions, you're interested in learning more, knowing your options, seeing what new technology is available, there's the link below. And if you're interested in website help, whether you want a free diagnostic help, I'll be happy to take a look at your website and tell you what I think. Or if you're just ready to outsource that for a solution that's just going to bring you leads, we would be a great option. I'd love to earn your business, and I've got some great financial incentivization via my coupons for Member Solutions members. So I will also type our URL here.
Awesome. And do we have any questions, Miranda?
We do.
Or
We
do we
do.
have
And I
time, I
know
should
we're
say.
a couple minutes over, but people are sticking around. I think it would be great to get a couple of these questions in. So the first one came in earlier in the presentation. Adriana asked, do you recommend waiting? This is about lead follow-up. Do you recommend waiting the full 15 to 20-minute window after a lead comes in, or just call as soon as you receive the lead?
Call as soon as you receive it. I got an interesting story about this. So one of my clients switched over to a 97 display site, and they got this InstaConnect. I just love this thing. And you guys are going to think Tim's paying me. I know you are. He's really not. But
Yeah,
they got this InstaConnect thing. The guy called back. The dude wasn't even off the website yet. He wasn't even off the website yet. So to answer the question, you want to get them immediately. The quicker, the better, because they're going to go to your website, then they're going to go to another website, and they're going to go to the first person that calls them wins. Okay.
All right.
Even the smallest town in the world has at least 2 competitors.
Oh, okay. You know what? We have a technical question here about Member Manager, but let's see if we know the answer, and if not, we will find out. All right. So this is about lead flows in Member Manager. So maybe you use it this way, Eric. So if you set up a lead flow in Member Manager, so in our software, and you attach PDFs, can you deliver those?
I don't do that. I don't do that, and I'm not sure if you can. I don't.
Well, that's something we can find out. But
you can't attach a file, I don't think, but you can definitely do a link, because I do that. So
I was going to say, might be good for you to give a couple of ideas of what you tend to include in those emails.
So here's the thing: when you're doing, one thing that's important about email is to not be boring, and to not constantly go, "Hey, will you please call us? Hey, will you come in?" You can't do that, because one thing that people really make a mistake with email is they think, well, if I just blast people all the time, what's it hurt? Because it's just email, it doesn't cost me anything. Well, it does cost you something. It costs you their attention. So in the emails, you want to give them value. You want to give them things. Maybe it's a link to a PDF, and that's how you would do it. It's 5 questions parents ask about bullying. Here's a link to it, or a blog, or better yet, a video that you created. It's easy to create a video. You just do, and you provide a link for it. Or it could be 5 tips. I don't know why I'm stuck on 5 right now, but 5 tips to lose weight at home. They're going to open that. And why is that something that's important, and why is that something that's good for you? Because you are the expert now. You're becoming an expert, not just trying to sell them a membership, but really trying to help them. And you give them things that will help them. And that's an important part of your follow-up process and your email process, is to give. Okay? So attaching a PDF, I'm not sure if you can do it or not. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't do it even if you could. Because the bottom line is, it may end up in a spam folder. It may not get delivered because of the size of the PDF. I've had that happen. That's why I just get rid of it. And if it's a big PDF where you want them to download it, just host it somewhere, put the link in, and have them go to that page and download it from there. And ideally, have that be your blog. Okay? I hope that answered the question. So even if it is a feature, don't use it. How about that? Give them a link.
Well, I think it's good to give people information on that.
Yeah.
I want to interrupt the questions for a second here, just to say, some people have asked if they can get information on the 97 Display coupons and if they can get put in touch with 97 Display. We will collect your names and make sure you get in touch with Tim later on today. So we will absolutely take care of that for you. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, 97display.com, and there's a button that says request information, and you'll get an email straight away, and you just tell me you're on the webinar. It's as simple as that. Also, Tim, T-I-M, at 97display.com. You can email me directly, and I will set you up.
Perfect. I think we have time for maybe one more question that also came in a bit earlier, and that is, so what is actually, and Tim, this one is, I believe, for you, so what is actually the difference between a landing page and my website?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people build out landing pages like ClickFunnels or lead pages, which I love those services, and we use them as well. We actually integrate with those systems so that you can install your landing pages directly on your website. But typically, there's two kinds of traffic. There's traffic from people that are what we call inbound marketing, so people that are searching online for your kinds of services, and they're going to come to your website and they want to know your brand and all of your services. Then there's traffic that comes from outbound marketing, like I'm showing you an ad and I'm trying to pique your interest in what we do. And a landing page is really used for those outbound ad campaigns. So we want a landing page environment that is directly correlated with what the ad was talking about. So let's say you're running an ad for a 21-day fitness challenge, right? You want to send them to a page that's all about your 21-day fitness challenge, right? And think about those visitors differently than people that are searching for like fitness gym in your town. So when people are searching fitness gym in your town, you want them to come to your website and learn all about your services and about you and your reputation. But if you're showing an ad that's just like my fitness challenge, send them to an environment that's just about that. So there's two different applications. You really, depending on what you're doing for your marketing, you need to do them both. But we integrate with those systems for basically consistency and branding. You can have it installed on your URL, and we play really well with all those systems. So a ton of confusion in those two things, and hopefully that clears it up a little bit.
That's great. Thank you so much, Tim. And I think because we're a few minutes over here, I think that's all the time we have for questions. But if we did not get to yours, please reach out to us, either tim@97display.com or sales@membersolutions.com, and we will get that question addressed for you. And again, don't forget to go ahead and either visit 97display.com or the bit.ly/lead-to-member to take advantage of the opportunity to optimize your website and get your sales process at high performance so that you can grow your business with the help of our two companies. Thank you, Tim and Eric, so much for being on today. A lot of great information, and it looks like everybody really enjoyed it. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tim, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Let's do it again. Thanks you guys for coming, and we'll all talk soon.